What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. My guest today is a good friend of mine, Willie Herrera. He's the head football coach at East Union High School in Manteca, California. Took the program over a couple years ago. He was searching for an identity, and he created a foundation that he had some difficult times at the beginning there. He endured some pretty unsuccessful seasons, but kept in mind what the true goals were and the foundation that he had built, and it's starting to pay off. Great story about impacting the lives of kids while also having the energy to be a good dad and a good father. That's coming up next in episode 8. So doing the early morning show. It's about 5 a.m. here in Alaska, 6 a.m. in California. I got my good friend Willie Herrera on the line. Football coach at East Union High School in California. Has just finished up the season. Second straight playoff appearance, which considering the league that they are in, I think it's been called the League of Death by a couple of the writers down there. Congratulations on the 2 playoff appearances, and can you tell me a little bit about the journey it took to get to where you got the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, first of all, good morning, my friend, and it's awesome. It's awesome to be up this early and talking to a good friend. But yeah, I mean, this is the League of Death, the Black and Blue League. Whatever you want to call it, it's a tough one. There's been a ton of success coming out of our league. It has a lot of clout, and so anytime you can make any positive headway, it's a big deal. And for us, the journey has been tedious. It's been long. It's been paved with pain, but in these last couple of years, there's been a lot of joy and happiness to go along with that. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, what the process has been like, it's been long, and it's been hard. It has had everything that you wanted in a story, I guess. For me, I'm glad it hasn't come easy. Mm-hmm. But would you like me to just get down into the very beginning?
Well, yeah, I was gonna go back to the very beginning. The last time your team had been in the playoffs, you were an assistant coach, your coordinator. That was 2010. That was when I was still down there. And so when you took over, you started. There's some good athletes that had been there, and the previous coach was a very good dude. But starting your own thing, putting your own stamp on it, and you said it's been paved with pain and difficulty. Talk about staying the course. Talk about the first thing you wanted. Like, here, this is going to be our identity. And as things were understandably difficult when you were changing the culture, how did you fight through that? How did you stay true to the process?
Absolutely. Great question. We had, like you talked about, 2010 was the last time that we were in the playoffs prior to me being the head coach, and before that it was 1992. So for a very long time there has not been a whole lot of postseason success for our school, let alone just season success. So when I took over, it was nice to have, coming back from that, and you try to use the momentum. And for me, being a brand new head coach, I had all the confidence in the world that we were going to repeat with an appearance and be just as successful, but being a bit naive, thinking that everybody else wasn't going to work as hard and get better, and also being naive, knowing, hey, our best players are no longer there. And so, with our previous coach, stepping down, he was retiring from coaching. Great guy, I said. What am I going to do to change it? And what's tough in our league, in our town, per se, there's 3 schools in our town, high schools, and there's 5 in our district and it's open enrollment. You can go wherever you want. And so one thing that we had to deal with was, how do we keep our kids here? How do we keep our best players? Because what we don't have here is the long-lasting tradition of success. We were very successful in the 80s and some success in the 70s, but in the 90s and 2000s, not a whole lot. So when I took over, I wanted to have something to hang our hat on as far as just, the foundational piece. And, John Wooden is a coach that I think just about every coach has heard of, if not, read his book and read and looked at his pyramid of success. And that was something that I wanted to try to duplicate and put into our own words and hang our hat on it. And it was a motto that I came up with that was compete with class and courage. And it seems really simple, but there was just a lot of pieces of the whole thing that I needed to add into there. And how am I going to attach this to their daily lives and during football season? Mm-hmm. And the competitive part, the compete part, was it's not just to compete, but my definition of it for our program was, are you getting better every day?
Yeah.
Are you getting after it every day to be better than the day before?
Yeah.
And simple as that. Just get better every day. Get better every day. And the class piece of compete with class was there's always a right way and a wrong way to do things. And in each one of our respective sports, there's these unwritten rules. You got the written rules. And they're set in place because there's an honor to each game. And we wanted to make sure, and I wanted to make sure, that we do honor this game. And we honor the people who played it before us. We honor the coaches who coached it before us. And so just making sure that even when things are going well, that you stay humble and you stay classy and you treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Right.
And when it's not going your way, which it did for us a lot in the very beginning, was still presenting yourself with class and having that confidence still. And that was extremely hard.
Yeah.
And then the last piece of the motto was courage. So compete with class and courage. And so that was, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to sacrifice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because those opportunities that you get, those are learning opportunities, and those make you better, and those going through adversity will make you stronger. And the goal is to, even if you don't win every game, but if you can compete every day, and if you can do it the right way, and you can give it all you got, and don't be scared of the situation, you're going to be better for it.
Yeah.
And that's something that we still say to this day. It's on pretty much every single one of our shirts. It's on our jerseys. I mean, it's broken down as CWCC. And you really have to believe in it. And in the very beginning, it was tough because we only won a few games. And for my own sanity, it was hard. It was a gut check to me, and constantly thinking, am I doing the right thing? The wins aren't coming. Are the kids believing in what we're doing? And you don't really know the answers to that until a few years later, after they've graduated. And we've done a good job, because I think it's a huge testament to what my coaches sacrificing, the kids, the effort they put in, when a ton of the kids come back.
Yeah.
And they come back with hugs and I love yous.
Yeah.
And even though they didn't have a bunch of success on the field, they knew that they were part of something special.
One of the first things I noticed when you started that, it wasn't like some sort of, hey, you know what, we're going to be really nice kids that always lose. It wasn't that we're going to accept a defeatist attitude, but we're going to be really swell about it, and really kind of embrace the losing, but be nice about it. That was something that I didn't see at all at the beginning, which I didn't expect from you, but it can appear when two other people that let's not take it too seriously. Let's just have fun out there and go out there, and it's about the challenge of going out there and just being there and having fun, which I think does kids a disservice. So going full tilt like you did, and now you see the kids get a lot of it, like you said, those first couple of years. Really difficult, win wise, but they were absolutely getting after it, which is the important thing for sure. Talk about when it started to change a little bit, when that started to pay off. Some of the kids had graduated, but they'd set that foundation, they'd lived that, and so you have that senior class that graduates, hadn't been very successful, but they impacted the freshmen, and then that's the entire program now believes in this and gets after this, and it starts to turn a little bit. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was the tough thing. So again, in the beginning, when you're preaching, it's tough because there's casualties along the way. I would love to say that 100% of the kids bought in and 100% of the coaches bought in from the very beginning, but it isn't true. I mean, it's hard for people to handle. People do not like rejection. People do not like to fail. And so one of the easiest ways to step away from it is to step away and quit, unfortunately. And in the very beginning, we had, my first couple of years, I had quite a few kids quit, and I even had coaches quit. And then when they quit, I didn't let them just walk away. I brought them in and I explained to them what this means and what it does and what it can do for you. And unfortunately, these former players and coaches still made the decision, but the kids that stayed, that made it even more important to them because they knew that the foundation that they were setting, and in the Bible, and we say it, in our public school with my team, is hey, we're gonna build this foundation on rock. We're not gonna build it on sand. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But you guys, even though, hey, you are 1-9 this year, you laid a foundation. And the class behind you saw it. You set a new expectation. And it's their job to take it from there. Mm-hmm. And because of the work ethic and just putting those things in, I feel that just in society with these kids nowadays, I think they need it even more. I mean, I was very fortunate to grow up in a family where hard work was a must, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing for me. Yeah. And so I tried to do all the things that I didn't like, but were the best things for me, and that was starting early morning workouts, 6 a.m., getting them there early in the morning before, just getting them that attitude of let's do more than our opponent before they even wake up in the morning, mm-hmm. and just starting to change their minds mentally and building this work ethic. And like I said, they weren't successful on the field, but they were seeing small successes individually and within the team, and we were meeting team goals. And to talk to these kids after they graduated and they're calling and they're saying, hey, coach, are you still working out in the morning? And I'm working out in the morning. And just doing these little things that we did within our program just meant so much. And all the while they're doing that, they didn't understand with this new expectation that they're doing it the right way. Word was getting out. And so before, when we were losing players to other high schools, now I had parents who wanted to meet and talk about, hey, we hear all these good things about the program. My son got 8th grader pretty good, and we're thinking about sending him, to Manteca or Sierra, who's having a lot of success. But we hear there's what's going on, and so that was a blessing right there that the kids who laid this foundation didn't get to see. Where now I'm having these meetings with these parents who are feeling the buzz and hearing the good things and seeing it, but why are we not winning? They want to know why aren't you guys winning? And so it was very nice to sit down and talk to them and explain the process that we're going through and what our goals are. And flat out, we need guys.
Mm-hmm.
We need players.
Yeah.
And we can have the best coaches in the world, but you still need those Jimmies and Joes. I need guys that can run.
Yeah.
I need athletes. I need big boys that can block.
Yeah.
So it was nice. So right from then, in that very first meeting, it just kind of dominoed. And there was another meeting with parents. And so all of a sudden now we're getting all of our feeder kids that we should have been getting in the first place.
Yeah.
And our lower levels are starting to see the success. They start winning. And it wasn't undefeated seasons off the bat, but we went from 0-10 and 1-9 on every level, first couple of years to 4-6, to 6-4, and then at the lower level, 10-0, 7-3, 8-2, and it started to snowball, and our rivals didn't like it. What are you guys doing?
No, yeah, trying to encroach on their territory, man. Yeah.
What are they doing? Keeping their kids. We're used to getting all these guys, and so that's kind of where it happened. And then the culmination. I talked about the 10-0 freshman squad. It was, you almost have to turn into a college coach and say, we got to put up these gates around our territory. We have these 5 feeder schools. We can't let anybody take any of these kids.
Yeah.
And so I went on visit all the elementary schools, and just, again, explaining what we're about, what the goal is, and selling them on the opportunity to be a part of something special, because I couldn't sell a program on wins.
Yeah.
So what else am I going to sell it?
Yeah.
How am I going to sell it? What are we going to do that nobody else is doing?
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
To get people here.
Yeah, and it's hard to get kids. It's they can't even see 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ahead of them. They're looking at they're gonna have for lunch, and so try to sell them on the, this is good for your future. Talking to a freshman about college, or talking to a sophomore about college, or hey, you know what? If you keep doing this, then one day it could be bad. Kids eating, candy for lunch. They can't consider their future on the same sort of way. So yeah, trying to sell when you don't have the wins, like, oh, it's gonna make me a good person. Well, I kind of want to win, but yeah. Got it turned around. Big guys can't have liked that for sure. Talk a little bit about how you balanced all that, because you went full tilt with that, but you're still a teacher, and you're still a husband, and you're still a father. And so talk about the enthusiasm, talk about the amount of energy that you need to bring every day to make sure that you don't shortchange other important aspects of your life.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's the number one priority in our household. And I'm so lucky that my wife, and we share the faith. She's an awesome Christian woman, and the Lord is number one in our household. And so when all this coaching thing first started to come up, it was very important that family was number one. And it's a lot easier now in some senses when you're the head coach, because you get to schedule everything kind of around your family events. But yeah, I mean, her support has been absolutely outstanding, and I know that she has to share a lot of me, and I have to realize that my family is doing that, and so I have to do a good job of when it's time, it's time. Meaning I have to go. I have to spend not just quality time with my kids, but lots of time with my kids. And talking about the energy, yeah, it has to be there. I don't want to come home, and I make it an effort when I come home to not let whatever day I had coaching, if it's bad or if it's good, dictate how I am around my kids. And it's hard sometimes because, especially early on, when you lose a lot, that you're not happy. But I have to make sure when I get home, I'm happy for my wife and my kids. And as soon as I walk in the door, it's about them. And I put everything aside. And so I got a good little thing going on. So when practice is over, I'm home, and it's all family. And I don't do any football stuff until everybody falls asleep. Mm-hmm. And it worked out pretty good. But the support they have is awesome. My kids, who my oldest two are in 4th and 2nd grade now, and they are all in. They are all red, white, and blue, go EU. They rep it at school, and they're super proud of the fact that they're little Lancers. And even my baby girls now, my twin girls, they're being brainwashed now with all this good stuff. But yeah, it's definitely my prayer life has to be there, because asking every day just for that extra energy and just staying positive throughout it all is super important. Making sure that I am the husband and the father that I need to be every single day. Mm-hmm. Well, it's good right now. Got a good little formula going on.
Good.
But there are days where that call for, hey, I got to be here a little bit longer. And there's days where I get home a whole lot, faster, which is good.
Yeah.
But like right now, when the season's over, football is football, but it's all family now. And so I don't feel like my kids feel like they're shortchanged. I feel like they have a dad who's there for everything and love them very much and put a whole lot of time into whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm. The days that you're a high school football coach, and the stereotype can be kind of really serious and really kind of almost that Friday Night Lights character, or the Varsity Blues character. But you've been known to put on a wig and dance around and engage in some foolery. What you can kind of ham it up a little bit. How do you think that impacts or helps the whole process? Sometimes people are too rigid to laugh, and there's not a lot of humor, a lot of joking around in there. So how important do you think laughter is, being in a good mood, being positive? How important is that to just having the energy and maintaining that positive attitude?
Oh man, that means everything. And Jeff, I miss the days of wearing the wigs with you. But you can't take yourself too seriously. And where you're at now, where you're teaching, it hasn't changed your shooting as far as that's the environment you step into every single day. What type of environment do you want to step into every day? Do you want it to be fun? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like what I do. I mean, I love what I do, and I want the kids to love to be there. And so if it means making a fool of myself for them to feel comfortable, then so be it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take myself too seriously. I know you don't, but that's what makes us fun. And the kids remember that, and that's part of the buy-in. That's also part of the fact that, we're serious when I tell my kids, my players, and my students that, you're my family. And this is the stuff that I do for my family. Mm-hmm. I don't take myself serious. And, we have fun. it makes everything a little bit more bearable for some of these kids because they are coming from some pretty ridiculous backgrounds and situations. And so, and just even that, and just the wig wearing, dancing, maybe in a goofball helps. Hey, if they're happy to be there, then it's worth it.
I gotta
making sure the environment is, fun.
Right.
Make it fun.
I got a kid who's writing a column in my journalism class about the real things that Mr. Lund has taught. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And everyone she's talking to is like, cholera is really bad. And if you're having a bad day, at least you don't have cholera. One kid remembered something from freshman year when I bought this new Watermaster raft. And apparently I was like telling him, I was like updating them on the shipping and how close it was getting to there, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't believe one man could be so excited about a raft." I'm thinking, "Oh man, hopefully they accidentally learned some actual English." But like you said, man, if you enjoy what you're doing and you bring that sort of excitement to it, it's infectious. And why would you not, make it your own? That's not going to be everybody's gig. Not everybody is going to be the, mess around, put on a wig and dance around like an idiot. But yeah, shoot, if you have it, then that's kind of what you got to do. And even if you don't fit the stereotype of a high school English teacher or the super rigid high school football coach, you got to be you. And I think people seeing that, especially in high school. High school's such a weird time, man. Kids are freaking out. They don't know who they are, and they're still figuring that out. And they can be real tense. So kind of see people be able to let loose and have fun I think is an important thing for sure.
Absolutely.
Football, college football is really ramping up here. Who's in your four, man? Obviously, tough loss, Notre Dame, man. So sorry to hear about that. I didn't watch the whole game, but I saw some of the highlights and it looked like it just kind of snowballed. But since Notre Dame might likely be out, who are your four?
Notre Dame's my squad, and it looks like they probably will be out. But I would say, you gotta keep. Obviously Alabama's in there; they are in there every year. But hey, until somebody beats them, I still put them in there. They're always prepared. I know they're going through some injuries right now, but they're in there. I like Miami, even though they beat my beloved Irish.
Respect.
They're playing football, and it was nice to see that game that I watched. That was a close-knit group, and it was very fun to watch. You talked about the energy. You can tell that team loves each other. They love where they're at, and that was inspiring. And it was good football. So as long as they keep going, I think that they get in. You know what? I've been thinking lately that I think everybody forgets about them. Excuse me. But they just keep winning. I think they're doing it quietly. It's in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was thinking about that earlier. I totally forgot about Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's three. That's three there. And, oh, man, the next one, I think it's going to end up being, I think, TCU at 5 right now?
You got I think that last spot, you got TCU, you got Clemson, you got Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah. I like Clemson, but I just think TCU's played really good football. Oklahoma, I think there's a lot of hype to them, but I feel like they played, inconsistently, a little bit too much.
Yeah, there's not a lot of defense there.
Weeks are going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I really love Penn State. I like Penn State. It's unfortunate they had some hiccups.
Yeah,
really hoping they'd be in the top 4. But
yeah, that was
that's a tough question. These 3 weeks are going to be rough in the college football world. Well, it's going to mean a lot.
One of the reasons why Wisconsin was so buried is because you had Penn State and you had Ohio State. One of those two was surefire, if not both, getting into the 4. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, well, they have losses, and then they both lost that second game, and then it was, Well, now who should we pay attention to? And oh, by the way, Wisconsin is pretty good this year. But yeah, it's when that media hype machine kind of gets things wrong, then it's like, oh man, well, we should have been talking about them maybe a little bit. And that was kind of Miami's too. They were winning a lot of games, but they were close, and they hadn't had that game where they really just thumped anybody really good, and so they flew under the radar too. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things that bothers me when I hear the commentators talk about it, or I read the tweets from some people that they didn't play anybody. You know what? They still were winning.
Yeah, you still got to do it.
Is it their fault that the people on their schedules? I mean, sometimes it is. They schedule some guys that don't belong there, but that the other guys are losing. I mean, they're doing what they have to do, which is win games. And and I sympathize with that, because a win's a win. I don't care if it's against a ranked team or a non-ranked team or an average team. It's a win, and those should all be celebrated, and they're all super important.
But ever since 2007, you can't guarantee the wins anymore. After Appalachian State won at Michigan, every small school, small school wants to be that. Every underdog wants to do that, and it looked like Iowa State. They had some big wins early, and like, dude, wow, you're going to lose to Iowa State, but they ended up being pretty good. But every small team is looking to knock off that big guy, and so it's not the same as your cream puff, your whatever schedule in the early 2000s. It happens. Wasn't Howard, Troy? Who did Troy beat? Was that LSU earlier this season?
They beat LSU. Yeah, Troy beat LSU.
Yeah,
I think Howard beat. I can't remember, but I remember them winning.
Yeah, it's on
New Mexico. Was it New Mexico?
Something like
Mexico
that.
State or something like that.
On the same token, you can't be like, oh, you're playing nobody. Well, those nobodies are really they're making things happen, and so it's such an upset. Well, they're coming to play. They don't see it as I'm paying a bunch of money to come out here and get my butt kicked. We're going to show up and we're going to play. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those are all learning experiences. And we had early on in my coach, we went, like I said, in the first few years, we only won 3 games. And we finally got some talent in. And the next year, we had scheduled Gregorian High School from nearby Modesto, Salida area, who are a D1 school. And we're a D3 school. And Division I being the biggest schools in your area, usually over 2,500 students, and we're at about 1,700. We schedule them, and they come to our house, and we beat them with the last second, field goal, and that was a big deal. And we were 3-0 for the first time in a long time, and then we go 0-7 the rest of the year. So it's that was one of those instances where you're like, man, okay, we got this now. It's good to go. But we just weren't there yet mentally. Still maturing through the process.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those. What we were doing. It was one of those big wins, though. One of those like, hey, this is part of the process. It's paid off to get this big win, and then you got to keep building on that. But yeah, that's you got to tell the kids, we're here. Might as well try. Might as well get after it. Like, what else is there going to do? Like, there's kind of that, if I don't give 100%, if I just kind of mail it in, it makes it easier. And I can always think that, well, if I would have tried, it protects them by saying, if I would have tried, maybe it would have been different. Or there's that alibi that I didn't really try, which is so much worse. You just got to do it. Mm-hmm. We're in the highest classification up here in Alaska. We're 4A. But the classification is any school, I think it's 500 kids or higher. So when we go to state and girls basketball, we're playing Diamond High School as 2,000. So the disparity, our tiny little school going up there. But, we don't see it like that. And that was the head coach of the girls program when he took it over. It wasn't just, hey, let's beat Juneau and let's be satisfied with that. His initial thing, kind of like with you, was like, no, we're gonna compete on the state level, and that was kind of people looking around like, really, like, just beat Juneau, win regions, but it was like, no, we're going to compete on the state level. And that's, having that sort of attitude, is important. And the kids have that goal. And, got third place at state 2 years ago. But it's great. You got the kids buying into the program, and you got to have that. You got to do that.
Well, that's a great message. I mean, they might have 2,000 kids, and 500 for you, but there's only 5 on each side playing.
Yeah, exactly.
At a time.
Well, there's some of the kids up there. There's we played to get to the third place, or in the third place game. Ruthie Hebert, who plays at Oregon. She's just tearing it up. She's Pac-10, Pac-12 freshman of the year. She's just killing it. And so it was funny that, we kind of gave her last high school game was a loss to us. And that was kind of a neat thing for us. But yeah, she's real good. So we got some good basketball players up here in Alaska. But what are the Thanksgiving plans, man?
Well, this is the first year that we're hosting it at my house. We typically go to the grandparents' house, and now they're getting to that age where they can't handle it. They can't handle the hosting duties. So I'm excited. I've always wanted to do that. I wanted our house to be the house for our entire family and the gathering spot. And so it's my time to shine.
Yeah,
it's my time to shine.
Clutch, man.
All the turkey and the ham, and so I'm excited.
Do it up.
Challenge.
Sweet, man.
Excited.
Well, thanks for being on here, man. It was a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on a good season, and we'll be in touch. Have a great Thanksgiving, and give everybody my best down there.
Will do. And I love you, my friend. I thank you very much for your early morning time.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you later.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, buddy. That will do it for episode 8. Make sure that you go to themediocrealaskan.com as well as The Mediocre Alaskan on Facebook. And you can follow me, Jeff Lund, at Alaska Lund on Instagram and Twitter. We'll see you next time.